Welcome, welcome. I'm so glad you guys are here. I'm Joanne Johnson, your host, and this is once again the tipping point. Forgive me right up front, you guys. I had technology issues, but you guys know exactly what that means. That means we're going to have the most amazing show. Tonight is no different than any of the others. I have got a fantastic comedian with me from Idaho tonight. It is Heath Harmison, and I am so glad that he is here. You guys, if you don't know him, he is amazing. Listen, he had plans on being a superhero, but it just didn't really work. That was not on the table for him. He didn't have the money he needed. He wasn't quite athletic enough, he says, and he has a super tragic backstory, which I want to know a little bit more about. So he had to kind of hang up the idea of having a cape, and he went into comedy, but that worked out very well for him. You will see him in Las Vegas, all over the place. He's at the MGM, the Bali, the Tropicana. He has performed with people such as Roseanne Barr, Dennis Miller, one of my favorites, Brad Garrett. I am going to ask Heath some questions about that. And I want to go ahead and bring him on into the show. But before I do, I want to play a first clip with him.
But here's the thing, there's all different kinds of crazy parents out there, man. There's Meredith over here, right? Then there's me. I'm in the middle. I'm passionate more than anything, okay? I'm excited, right? Then there's Stan. Stan is a crazy person. Stan's on the sideline yelling out at the sports like, "You break his legs, Billy! Break him! Kill him! Kill him!" I'm like, "Stan, calm down. It's synchronized swimming. They're supposed to work together. Calm down." But nothing, and I mean nothing, beats a wrestling mom. Have you seen these crazy ladies? Yeah. Holy crap, man. Is that your mom? For sure. Yeah, I see you. You're like, yeah. Yeah. Here's the story, okay? I'm 6 years old. I'm 6 years old. It's the 80s. First sport that I do is wrestling. Recreational, public, no coaches, right? I know nothing about wrestling, right? Nobody does. But I go there, I'm wearing my recreational gear. Okay, first thing you should probably know, I was kind of a big kid, all right? Like 6 years old, about 100 pounds. Yeah, not kidding. Big kid. If you need a visual for that, if you smile and can't see anymore, you're a big kid. Yeah. 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 I didn't even know I had a lazy eye until I started losing some weight, and then my 5th grade picture day came around. Boom, lazy eye. Grandma did not put that picture on the refrigerator. All right. So I'm getting ready to wrestle, right? Got my recreational gear, and if you know anything about 80s shorts, in the 80s, everything was shorts, right? They were the juicy shorts. You seen the juicy shorts the ladies wear at the gym? That's what I was wearing, right? I'm wearing the short shorts, but I'm a big kid, so I'm wearing my big shirt, so now the big shirt's covering my short shorts, so now it looks like I'm just wearing a nightie, getting ready to wrestle. I walk out there, and they found a kid as big as I was. I was amazed. But this kid's wearing the wrestling singlet. You guys know what I'm talking about? I know you do, like singlet, right? And he's like busting out of it, yeah? That match was my first motorboat, you guys. Probably his too. Yeah, yeah. I know some of you are confused because I'm seeing, what's that? Oh, really? Anyway, yeah. If my mom would have taken a picture with her Polaroid at the right moment, we became one person with 2 heads, all right?
Oh my gosh. You guys, let's go ahead and we're going to bring him right on in. Hang on. Hey, Heath, how are you?
Good. How are you?
Good. We're having a little bit of a lag. I'm telling you, we're having a storm. How are things in Idaho with you?
That's what we're waiting. That's what we're here in Idaho for. I've been usually living in Las Vegas, but Nevada's not fun to be in right now. Neither is Idaho. Nowhere's really fun to be. But here's where all of our family is and all that stuff. So we're just kind of coming back home for a little bit and seeing family and using the time for some sort of good. You know what I mean?
Well, that's it. We have to get super, super creative right now with everything that we're doing and trying to find a balance, right? And a lot of comedians that I'm talking to, and I don't know if you're this way, I'm curious, they're trying to just write new material and take advantage of this time and enjoy being with their families, because normally you guys are on the road all the time.
Yeah, I mean, It's been I've gotten quite a bit of writing done. A lot of good stuff is honestly a lot of good stuff has come out of this for me personally. A lot of hard stuff. Don't get me wrong, but when you lose all your work for a whole year within 3 days, it gets a little crazy. But yeah, it's definitely a growing experience. I've had to get outside my comfort zone more and learn to think differently about things and how to, you know, um, creatively do things different. And one of those things I've had to use creatively is TikTok. My daughter got me on there.
Really?
And I was like, "What is TikTok?" I didn't even know what it was. But my daughter's like, "Dad, you just you do this and you do little videos and you do it a minute long." I'm like, "A minute, man? It's not a lot of time, you know." Anyways, started doing stupid videos with my kids. That it's turned out all right. I mean, since March, I've gained about I don't know. I think I'm at 260,000 followers now on there, so it's not bad. But
So since March, 260,000 on TikTok.
yeah,
That's awesome.
yeah, it's really good. I mean, I'm happy with it. So it's given me a new new followers that have gone to my stand up and checked out some of my dry bar stuff. Um, and it's been a good outlet for me creatively just to be silly and have fun, especially with my kids. I mean, they've been with me 24/7 for like 9 months. So
my daughter can't stand me now.
I know. And I had to homeschool in the start of it, and holy crap. That was a whole nother level of my kids got a solid 5th grade education for a good month before they got the online stuff going.
Wow.
I learned math again.
My daughters, I have 4. My daughters have begged me not to get on TikTok. They're like, I mean, yours encouraged you. Mine are like, no, please, in the name of Jesus, don't do that to us, because they know that I'm going to get on there and embarrass us all. So there's no way.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah. My son and daughter are really, they're just good sports. Like they go with what I want to do. And because I do a lot of stuff, especially with my son, I do a lot of, I got this crazy character, Thomas Peebles, that, it's just, it started with my daughter right at the beginning of this whole thing. I just did this. I was making Rice Krispies with my daughter, and I was just like, my daughter's always like, "Hey, let's do a TikTok," and I'm like, "Okay, so how are we gonna do this?" And so I found this stupid like just straw hat thing, put it on, and then the voice just came out. I was just like, "Okay, here we go. We're gonna do just a nice little. We're gonna make some Rice Krispies, and this is my daughter Chestnut. My name's Thomas Peebles, and let's do this thing." So that
oh my God,
that voice comes out, and I just doing this fun stuff with my daughter, just being silly, and the next thing you know, people are just loving this character, and so now I got all these people wanting me to do certain videos, cooking videos, or I don't know, just life stuff, just making light of either hard things or just fun things, whatever it is. But I got my son now in it. His character is named Chip. His actual name is Preston. But we do this family thing, and my wife, I call her Sugar Pudding, and it's just this whole Peebles family thing, So we just do these funny videos, and people like them, and it's just, I don't know. It was just fun. It's a fun avenue. And then it sparked ideas for the stage as well. So it's been good.
Well, and I think people are looking for something a little bit lighter right now. I mean, we are inundated with everything that's going on. And when this show first started, because I've got 2 other shows that are on TV, but this one is on Facebook, and I started it with legislators and all of the heads of government throughout South Carolina, and I was just trying to bring all of the most up-to-date information that I could,
Right.
And it got to be too heavy, and I was like, no, I'm going to lean on my musicians that come on the show and all of the comedians, and then it just grew and grew. Now it's all over the country, but it's people want to laugh. We want to escape, don't you think?
Oh, for sure. We need an outlet. I mean, I mean, I respect all these comics that are doing these Zoom shows and just anything to help get into people's homes in a sense with laughter and bringing some positivity, because you can't look at the news right now without
Mm-mm.
it just feeling so. And I'm not a political person. Like, I don't get into
Yeah.
politics.
Yeah, me too.
It's just but I am a guy that really just wants good feelings for the planet, good energy put out there. Um and that's what I do with my stand up. It's I've always wanted to be the guy leaving people with that feeling when they leave my show. I want them being like, "Oh my gosh, I laughed so hard." And the guy wasn't crude. Now, don't get me wrong. I get a little adult sometimes, but I'm never crude, and it's not that. I believe me, I like my comics that are crude. Don't get me wrong. I'm not saying anything against them at all. Um, I've had people come up to me after shows in Vegas, because I don't change my show in Vegas. I don't get dirtier. I don't do that. I just do my thing. And people think because you're in Vegas, you got to be more adult, right? But you don't. You just got to be funny. And I had a guy come up to me after a show in Vegas, and he's just like, you know what, man? I'm going to tell you this. I love dirty comedy. The dirtier, the better. But I'll tell you what. I saw your show, and I laughed so hard. I'm hurting right now. My cheeks
That's
hurt,
awesome.
and I'm just like, and that was a big compliment I felt, because it's like it just showed me that obviously it's a great compliment. You want to feel like, okay, good. I'm glad you enjoyed the show, but that I want to hit everyone as much as possible, because I feel like funny is funny to me. So clean, if you're dirty, whatever. If it's well written and it's good, that is what it is. But going back, I kind of ramble. I'm so sorry.
I love it. Go ahead.
But I really just I love people leaving my show almost uplifted. Does that make sense? A little bit
Yes.
more uplifted than I just laughed really hard. I like to be memorable. That's why I tell stories about my life. And I bring in, I mean, obviously the clip you played with the wrestling, that was real. That happened. That was me, me
Yeah.
and this big sumo kid just going at it. And it was real, And so, I think the more authentic as you can be on stage, the more people connect with you from the audience.
That's exactly what I was going to say, and people are really gravitating toward that, Heath, because they just like that realness. It makes them feel better. They can identify with you, and the best comics, I think, and again, nothing to other people like you're saying, but when you're pulling from your own life and it comes from that pure place, it's hilarious.
Yeah. Yeah, it's the audience feels it too. The audience knows when it's real and when it's not. And obviously as comics we'll embellish a little bit. We'll make it, because you got to punch it up. And there's sometimes I embellish, but honestly, most of my stories, I've had so much crazy crap happen to me that people come up and be like, is that true? I'm like, unfortunately, yes, it was completely 100% true.
Yeah.
And I've got my new dry bar. I just shot my second dry bar comedy special, and it comes out in I think the spring. But it was I know people are going to ask me on some of these stories, like, did that really happen? Like, yeah, it's all pretty much just straight up me just telling what happened.
And your first dry bar special, I didn't say this, I don't think in the intro, but that hit over 30 million.
Yeah. Yep.
That was tremendous.
Yeah, I was really happy with the results.
So we're expecting the same thing on the second one.
I hope so, and more. That's the goal. They dry bar gave me a huge opportunity to get myself seen a little bit, and I was actually one of the first dry bar specials. So it was interesting, because I think it was me and two other guys, and then it just exploded. A lot of my friends have been on there and done so well, and I'm so happy to see some of the friends that I have getting the exposure they deserve.
Absolutely. And I'm glad that you mentioned Dry Bar, and we've got it up on the ticker for those that don't know. We do have permission to use all of the Dry Bar clips directly from Dry Bar. So they're very gracious. And we have, as you guys know, so many Dry Bar comedians that come on this show. It's awesome. You saw some of them in the introduction that we just did. You know, we had Jose Sardui and, of course, you know, Karen Mills and Lisa Mills and Trish Sir, Reno Collier, John Reap. I mean, everybody is coming on this show. If you're watching this show and you're a comedian and you want to be on it, get with me. I'll put my stuff on the ticker as well. But thank you to Dry Bar Comedy for sure. But before anybody goes and tries to flag us and put us in Facebook jail, we've got permission. So there's that. That's it. That's it. But so the next special's coming out, which is going to be tremendous. Let's go back to when you started comedy. Now, I always ask everybody, is this what you were going to do from the get-go? Did you always know it? Did you fall into it? What's the story?
You know, okay, so I'll try and keep the bullet point version. I was going into college to be a nurse. I was about to get in the nursing program. I was also the mascot of my school too. So I was kind of part of the cheerleading squad, I guess, if you would say. Well, I had some of them were like, hey, there's an open mic here at the college. You have to do some stand-up. And I've always wanted to try it, but I never knew that's exactly what I wanted to do. So I had some ideas already that I wanted to, if I ever had the opportunity to try. And so this open mic wasn't a comedy open mic. It was like writing songs to your girlfriend or poetry, all different kinds of stuff. Mm-hmm. And I went to the guy running the open mic. I was like, hey, I kind of want to do some stand-up comedy. He's like, oh my gosh, that'd be awesome. We've never had anybody do stand-up on this thing. I'm like, okay, well, I mean, I'd like to try. I don't know how well it's going to go, but I would like to try. And he's like, okay, yeah. I'm like, so how much time am I supposed to do? He's like, whatever you want, man. I'm like, oh, okay. So I just wrote down my ideas and got up there. I did 20 minutes my first time, which is a lot of time to do for your first time doing stand-up. Most comics, when you go into a club, they're going to give you maybe 3 minutes your first time. And but I go up there, I do 20 minutes, and they laughed enough to make me want to do it again. So I came back, and at that time, I thought that comics did different material every time they went up there. So I'm like, okay, I'm going to do a different thing this next week. So I go again, I do like 20 minutes again. So I'm doing like 20 different, and like I said, storyteller, it wasn't great. Okay. It was like any comic that would go up there for the first time. It was a lot of so much setup to probably a very, not much of a punchline. It's just a funny story. Anyways, so in that second show, the guy at the college that books the entertainment for the school comes up to me afterwards, like, hey, think about setting up a comedy show. Do you want to do it? And I'm like, for the school? He's like, yeah, I want to do a school. We'll put you in the auditorium. It's about 1,000-seat theater. It'll be a lot of fun. I'm like, so inside I'm panicking. I'm like, no, I can't do that. He's like, we'll pay you $300. I'm like, yeah, let's do it. So I'm like, $300. I'm a college student. I got a wife. We just got married, and I'm trying to do this thing. I'm like, $300. Let's do this. And he's like, okay, I just need you, probably just do an hour. And I'm like,
an hour?
An hour? An hour? I'm like, and he's like, yeah. And I'm, again, inside I'm screaming, no, you can't do this. Like, but I just kept thinking about $300. So I was like, yeah. And he's like, it'll be in a couple weeks. So I go to so I'm like, okay, I'll just do the same material that I just did. And I'll try and, figure out another 20 minutes, So I go to, I'm like, and I have another week. We can go and do another set, and try and figure out stuff till then. So I go this next week to the open mic. Well, they had canceled it. So I'm like, oh no. So I can't, oh no. All right. So I can't do this. And the show was the next week. So it was only a couple weeks away. You didn't, it was very, very, very quick. So my third show, ever doing stand-up comedy. I'm in a 1,000-seat theater, and about 800 people showed to this thing, and I'm the headliner. And I go on that stage, and people. That's my hometown where I was going to school, so I had a lot of people that came out, and my dad was there, and my dad's an introvert, and he's in the back of the room, and there's just like I can see the silhouette just walking across the back of the room. Everybody's sitting down, and he's walking, and I see him, and he's dry heaving in the back of the room. He's so nervous for me. He is back there just going, oh. I'm like, I'm like, Dad, you got to stop dry heaving and sit down. So it was just like that moment.
That's
was
awesome.
Yeah, I mean, there was some. So, anyways, I ended up doing the show. Believe me, it was not great. I mean, it was enough that it seemed like the people enjoyed it enough. And I've always been pretty animated and pretty physical, and so just being silly and getting out there and doing it.
Yeah.
I did a good enough job that the guy gave me my $300, and then later on, a few years later, when I actually did the open mics and worked the road and did all the stuff, I get a call from the college again asking me to come back, and I did the college a few more times. After that, completely different experience.
Yeah.
And was even cool because I got to bring my son, because my son does stand-up comedy.
Does he really?
Yeah, he's been doing stand-up since he was 6 years old. We did my wife was running for Mrs. Idaho back in, what was it, 2012 or something like that. Anyway, Mrs. Idaho pageant. We did a fundraiser show. My son comes up to me at 6 years old. He's like, Dad, I want to help. I'm like, well, what do you want to do? You want to take tickets or something? He's like, no, I want to perform. I'm like, well, what are you going to do? He's like, I'm going to tell jokes. I'm like, do you have any jokes? He's like, no, that's what you're for. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So he wanted to do it. So I'm like, you know what? Why not? So I just started asking him questions, because I'm always a proponent of going off your life experience. He's 6 years old. So I started asking questions what he has issues with. Like, what do you have problems with? So he just started answering these questions. Like, obviously he talks about how his sister bugs him. And one thing he said was, he's like, Dad, I don't like going to the bathroom when we're at the store. I'm like, what? He's like, yeah, because when I go, number one, I try to go in the toilet thing, which is a urinal, but the small one's always taken by a big guy. So I have to try and use the big urinal, and I can't reach it. So I'm like, oh my gosh. So we wrote a joke about that, and he got up there. I'm serious. I cried backstage.
Did he nail it?
Oh, he killed it. And I was like, I have to ground him now because he got a standing ovation.
Wow.
His first time doing stand-up comedy. It's ridiculous. But I mean, he had that major cute factor going on. That didn't help me. Yeah. But no, he went up there, did such a great job, and he loves doing it. He's 14 now. And he was actually right when this pandemic hit, he was in a national comedy competition where he performed at Jimmy Kimmel's Club in Las Vegas, and he was moving on to the Comedy Store. He's going to perform at the Comedy Store in LA and then in New York. So he was,
check it out. That's awesome.
Yeah. So he was they really liked him. Right now, obviously he's not talking about, peeing in a urinal and stuff, but the stand-up definitely does hit the puberty factor, because that's what he's dealing with. So it's very funny stuff.
This is cool. So we'll expect big things out of him.
That's the hope. It's my retirement plan.
I mean, really, exactly. Well, so let me ask you this, because we're almost at the end of our time, and this has been awesome. I know you perform with Brad Garrett. I have to ask you, how awesome is he? Because to me, now, no offense to Ray Romano, I mean, we love Ray Romano, but Brad Garrett freaking made that show. I mean, to me, just like he'd be walking behind, and just his facial expressions and how funny he was. I mean, it was so good.
Oh yeah, he is. I'll just tell you this: Brad Garrett is probably one of the best people I've met in this industry. He takes care of his comics. He cares. Take care of you in every way. He wants the experience at his club to be just authentic, real. He wants it to feel like a home, and he really makes it that way. And everyone at Brad Garrett's Comedy Club, everyone, the servers, the bartenders, the lighting people, the sound, everything, they are just incredible. And it's because he sets it up that way. I've worked with Brad a couple times, and I talk to him fairly regularly. I've talked, we chat, and he's just genuine. He's a real guy who he's a stand-up comedian. He knows what it's like to go through the grind, and he knows what it's like to go and stay in a crappy place and he knows the struggle. And so he wants comics to feel like it's a vacation. Raising the level, I would say, of the value of the comics that he brings in. I know I felt it the first time I worked in that club. It immediately raised my value, and inside I could feel that, oh, I'm working this club, then I am worth more, and
that just speaks volumes. I love to hear that. I love that.
Yeah, he's everything you would hope when you're meeting a star, I guess, in this industry. So he's one of the best for sure.
Well, and you are as well. And I had so many more questions for you, but we're gonna have to roll because
I kept rambling.
30 minutes. No, I love that. I love people who get on here and talk. That's what we're supposed to be doing. But I hope you come back because I have more questions for you. And we'll do it again. But you guys make sure that you check him out. He's got merch. Make sure you pick that up. Go to his website. That is running along the ticker. Let me check our time really quick. Stay with me really quick. I wanted to play part of another one of your bits. Hang on.
Center's like, no. I am way too out of shape for that joke. I'm feeling it. I am very, very pear-shaped, guys. My buttons was having a tug of war with each other. The shirt fit a week ago. I got the dad bod. Got the dad bod. I guess that's what they call him now, dad bod. Any dad bods in the audience? No applause. You got dad bod? Yeah, I got denial over here a little bit. Most of the guys in here are like, yep. Be proud of the dad bod, guys. Ladies, if you're single, looking for a good guy, look for the pre-dad bod. Okay?
I love that. I'm having technology stuff. I think it's the storm. It's 2020. It's all that. Before we go, I want to just remind people here locally in South Carolina, actually, you can vote all over the country. As you know, I run the Joanne Johnson Media Foundation as well as the shows. And if you go to Duke Energy, let me pull it up really quick. Duke Energy Duke-energy.com/Festival of Trees. We've got a couple of more days. Please go in there, vote for tree number 2. If you do, the Joanne Johnson Media Foundation will be the recipient if the tree wins, and we get some money to help fund our outreach. So Heath, if you don't know about it, it's super, super cool. Awesome. What we do is help people overcome adversity in their life, specifically women whose voices have been silenced. So it's going to be pretty awesome, and we need all the help that we can get. But you guys, we've been visited today by Heath Harmison from Idaho. Super glad that you're here. He's normally in Vegas. Make sure that you guys get up with him on Facebook. He's on all the social media platforms. He is amazing. I'm so glad that you were here, and I look forward to having you again.
Oh, thank you. Thank you so much for having me. I had a great time.
All right. We'll see you again soon. Thank you.
Right. Yep.
All right, guys, this has been so much fun. I want to play the outro real quick. Please forgive me. I'm on the iPad tonight because you know how it happens with me with no technology. This is it. So forgive me. I love you. I will see you on, what is today? Today is Wednesday. I will see you next Monday. You'll have a great night.